Welcome, Christina. Good to see you. And Arnold, of course. Hope you are doing fine. And Lisa as well. Welcome. New week, new month. Price action on the first of the month can always be a bit more unpredictable and sketchy. But so far it's clean. Welcome, Daniel and Slatan as well. Let's wait a little longer for some people to join. Welcome, Philip. Good to see you here. As well as Dylan and Wes. And Uncle Kev. A lot of people, so good to see. Let's take it. Okay, let's first zoom out a bit to have the bigger picture. We know that we are in a downtrend, internal and external. We have the daily market structure, basically first here, low to high, and we first swing filled it right here, where we got it move up. So in that case, you can extend your market structure low to that new low, and then that's your daily structure. However, you can see that price continued the downtrend. So we have this low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then some sketchy price action here since last week, last Friday, with some internal chop and now new lows. So we have a new market structure level to work with as well, in which this right here is now our 4 hour and above. What is it? Yeah, so 12 hours as well. So right now, if you want to break your structure back to bullish, as it stands now, we need to break this level. But until proven otherwise, this is just a downtrend. You can see that we did not even get a move up, which I was kind of looking for last week, where we had that local range on Friday with that tab 1, tab 2, and then on Friday New York session we took out that low and then pushed higher, and from there I was basically watching this new range and see if we get any accumulations or distributions to trade. And unfortunately we did not sweep the highs. I was still mainly looking for shorts from these levels, simply to take out the range high into that anchored VWAP and the supply levels above, because that was in line with the trend. So we have a downtrend. So as we know, you want to prefer shorts over longs. So I was mainly looking for a sweep, but we did not get it. So not really a clean shorting opportunity on Bitcoin for my system. So prices made new lows, but not really a rate to trade it, unfortunately. And right now we did tap into demand. But so far this move down is pretty steep. So I'm also not really looking at it from this range anymore. But more likely, in my opinion, to maybe bounce from here and then start a new range right here. However, for my system, this needs time. So in the near future, I don't see a good setup. So probably have to see how this resolves from here. We can have a look at the volume profile, and you can also see, like, this was the former range low level. To me, the move down is too deep. I think we are also, let's see, are we below the deviation threshold? Yeah. So either it really quickly comes up right now, then it potentially can still be seen as step 2. But overall, I'm not forcing this range to be there. We are just in a downtrend and made new lows. So let's see what happens from here. But we are in pretty clean demand, which was the start of that strong impulse. We filled the imbalances below. So it's not a weird place here to to form a new range and then see from there if we maybe get the bounce and then lower, which is still the most likely scenario because we know a trend is more likely to continue than to change. So for now, we should respect the downtrend. And last week, a lot of people flipped bullish, but technically there was no reason really to expect much higher. I would have hoped for that lower high for lower low, but we did not get it. So right now, if we just zoom out, we have this demand we just stepped into, and then below it we have a big imbalance with another demand. And then here I also see some demand. So we can just watch those levels. But until proven otherwise, this is still more likely to continue the current trend. So we can watch, did price leave something behind? Well, we have here multiple buy candles before strong selling. So this now also are, let's see, low, lower high, lower low. So until proven otherwise, this can just be a lower high and then lower low. And then maybe from there start the range. We just have to see. Do we have more refined levels? Not. Yeah, so. Well, this whole box can just be seen as supply, which is also near the value area low likely. Yeah. So in case price bounces from here, this is still likely to be just a lower high and then come back down. And maybe from there come back down. And then if you sweep that low again, maybe that's the new range. For now, yeah, this is too low to get into shorts. But for me, this is also nothing too long. We have now probably some longs getting squeezed out, a lot of volume coming in. But yeah, nothing to work with for me. I need sideways price action, not this. So let's see. We start the week very bearish, and we can also see like today. And that is where the stats come in pretty handy. By the way, welcome Barapiteo and Matt. Good to see you guys. Where can I share it here? Shared the stats, and already this morning it showed like 92% of the days would close bearish, and 92% of the days would take out the low later. So I also shared, I think, that we had London lows. So we know that London super rarely prints your daily high or daily low. So very likely to take it out at least in stronger hours, which we are currently in. And that played out as well. So right now we also have, I can watch what the stats are saying right now. But it once again showed like before looking for reversals, never, if you are trending down in London and you have London lows or London highs, those are super rarely to be your daily low. So then it's better to just wait. Current stats still show 100% of similar days with similar price action and similar daily high and daily low. 100% close bearish, which is pretty likely because either we get a full reversal, but also still 92% of the days would make a new low later. So that's still pretty significant. So it's also not weird if we look at price action, but don't expect this to be the low, for example. It just needs time. Stats show that it's near, like 92% probability to make new lows. So don't start trying to catch knives here. It's very unlikely that it reverses right from here. So for BTC, I don't have much to say beside that. Bit unfortunate that we did not sweep the highs right here for a distribution play, at least in model 2 or a 2-tap model. But it was just ranging high and low remained open. So nothing to trade, but that's part of the system. You do not always get a trade. So now I'm basically just waiting for price to start going sideways to see if we maybe from there get a new range to work with, or just go lower and then watch, does this demand hold, or does this demand hold? And for shorts, obviously this is not a short entry, or for me at least. For that, I want to see price go up, show some weakness, break structure, and then can short it back down. If we translate it to USDT, then we know that this is still in the confirmed Wyckoff model 1. So range low, range high, sweep, tap 3, and then we broke structure back to bullish right here, and we are now super clearly respecting the 4-hour uptrend. Since we made it low, we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And last week on Monday, we had that move close to the 4-hour market structure low. Buyers stepped in there to defend the uptrend, new highs, and this is still the bullish range we have right now, because our 4-hour market structure low is located down here. So anywhere here can still put in a higher low for a higher high. However, it seems likely that we are already getting that rotation. Since we formed this range, right now it's confirmed, but earlier it was not confirmed. And there you can see that with clean demand right here and super clean demand right here. So this basically this whole move. And you can see that from here we swept the high, then had a lower high, and then kind of came down into that clean demand. From there we had lower high, lower low, bullish break, liquidity taken, and just trend continuation. So always if you're, let's say here, your 4-hour is pointing upwards, so this trend right here, then your main structure is, your main expectation is just higher low, higher high. And then if your internal downtrend breaks back to bullish, then your low time frame and high time frame are pointing in the same direction. And that's what you want for extra confluence. So here we had local downtrend, lower low, and then it broke back to bullish. And then here for a second time. So that's basically your confirmation that your high time frame and low time frame are pointing in the same direction again. And then it's likely to see price just continue its trend. So that's what we also got. And now we can potentially look at it from this new bullish range. Still bullish because high time frame, low time frame structure is bullish, and the target of the Model 1 is still the range high. So we can now watch this as the new range with range high, range low. Accumulations are still the way more likely to play out, so be careful with shorts. However, the higher we come, the more likely it is for distribution to be formed, and especially because on USDT we have this super clean buy, super aggressive sell, and then this 12-hour supply is just super clean. So if there's anywhere where we're gonna get a bigger retracement, will be this and then still higher. That can still happen, because in an uptrend, oftentimes price can also deeper mitigate more demand, and then on the high time frame still form a higher low for the target towards the Model 1. But if anywhere we're gonna get the reversal, in my opinion, it should be then from the supply. So if the triggers are super clear, and we, for example, right now this shows pure strength. So on the first step, I'm not expecting anything. But if we start showing some weakness right here, and then tap the high, come back down, then we can start looking for potential distributions, but it's counter context. So underproven otherwise, I still expect higher. And then we can just watch what is the reaction after we make a new high. Do we swing fail it, this high, or do we, like this will be super strong, or do we slightly take it? And that will be the first sign to maybe look for like a Model 1 or Model 2. So currently waiting for the high or low to be taken out on BTC and USDT. And the other pairs, let's first quickly discuss. Oh, hype is interesting. Let's first start with Sol. Welcome, Sido, by the way. if we watch Sol, this range is broken. Should be like this. Then it was also just downtrending. So last week I saw quite a lot of people get bullish on Sol, but if we look at just the main structure and also internal structure, then price never broke to bullish. So this was, for example, low, lower high, lower low. In this leg, there was no structure to confirm a break of structure. So then most likely still lower high, lower low. And then over the weekend, we formed actually clean model 1. I wasn't looking at it at all, but this is what you want to see, where you have a super clean downtrend. In this move, there's no break of structure, so this is just seller strength. Then you leave supply behind, a daily point of control, your anchored VWAP, so basically your trend is pointing downwards. So basically everything is pointing lower. And then you get a 1, 2, 3 into supply. Then everything is basically aligning. So then you want to short. And technically here, if you look at the uptrend, you have high, high, low, high, 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 low, high, high. Break of structure right here. That technically confirms this as your invalidation. Target the range low. So then, for example, in this leg, you can look, you either short it on the break, but then you are already late. Then you can watch for the retrace to take extreme liquidity, which is this high, or just tap into extreme supply, which is basically this whole zone. And then you can watch for low time frame triggers. If you want to be more risky, you can use this as your invalidation. That's always more risky also because it did not take extreme liquidity. So in that case, the model 1 is always the safest entry, safest invalidation, because price should not exceed that high, otherwise it's failed. So the risk of playing the extended model right here is that you put your stop loss here, that price maybe goes down, still stops you out, and then goes down. And that's not what you want. So if you just want peace of mind, you can also step in there, third tap, invalidation, target, range low for 3R. Super clean. Unfortunate that it happened over the weekend where I'm not watching a chart, or at least not the other pairs. But clean to see again, redistribution while in a downtrend. That's basically what you want to trade. Now these lows have been taken and price is in demand. So we can clear this up. Hype, I just saw that it's breaking some structure. So let's zoom out a bit. Super strong in general, still making new high after new high. But we can have a look. 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, the only structure we have is still basically high, high, low, higher, high, high, low, boom. So this is your 4 hour mark structure low, which is pretty low compared to here. So what other structures do we have? On a 3 hour, this is the last 2 candles down before new high. So this is a more important level. And let's delete this for a moment. It's not really a range. So until proven otherwise here, people will see like this is pretty clean swing failure of your high. But now everyone will think, oh, this must be the top. I'm gonna short it again. The same as they've been shorting the whole uptrend. But until proven otherwise, this can still just be high, low, higher, high, high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. You have clean demand. You have your mark structure low here. You have the anchored VWAPs. So still higher until proven otherwise. We can watch because we do now have an internal break structure right here, or a pending one. but that's super low time frame. It's more looking for something than it truly is something. So I will, yeah, just watch what happens in this zone. If you form a new range here, then it's still most likely to just continue higher. What can also happen is that you get here, down here, move back up, and that is our new start ranging point. And if we then start SFPing the highs again, that would give me more confidence that maybe this is a bigger reversal. Right now, this is pretty short in duration. So few levels to watch. Do we create supply? Not really. So yeah, there's not really clean supply anywhere. So more important levels to the downside is just watching what happens at these demand levels. And then interproven otherwise, still this is bullish. So you can still watch for the overall trend to continue, which high, high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. At the moment, not really seeing ending to trade. This move down is pretty aggressive. On Tao, what do we have? Yeah, we are sweeping the low, but overall, like sometimes you can pull your range from low to high, and then this can be tap 2. But then it's also important to zoom out and know where you are in the bigger picture. Because we are in a major range, range high, range low. Then this is step 1. We have a lot of liquidity just above it. And then you can ask yourself, like, how likely, or is this a logical place to form a range which is going to reverse? For example, tap 3 and then do this. Is that logical if you keep in mind the bigger picture, which is tap 1, so range low is open, a lot of liquidity just above it, then I would find it more likely that this is maybe a redistribution range, but an accumulation doesn't make too much sense. So how I would treat this range is to just look at it and still mark out tab 1 low, tab 1 at the highs. Now see how price holds. Let's say we push back in. And this is step 2. But then still keep in mind, like, is it likely here to form an accumulation? It can happen. So if triggers are too clean to pass on, then I would still take it. Like here, break structure in your value area low, trade it towards the range high. But then I think it's most likely that this turns into a redistribution to then go lower. So can look for longs, but just because it's a second tap doesn't mean it has to be the reversal already. Also because we are clearly in a downtrend. So shorts are the easier play and longs are counter context. So then you want to keep it in mind. Overall, just gonna watch, maybe alert at the low, see how it develops. But I would not be surprised if this just turns out to be a trend continuation. It's clear like low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Take out the range low, clear all that liquidity, and then from there we can start watching. Do we hold around here? Do we get a break in the range? And then just trade this high time frame range. So also there, not at the moment something yet, but it can turn into something. So BTC doing not really much. Then what more do we have? Well, we have ETH. Yeah, the ETH chart. Do we still have to discuss it? Basically nothing to see in the middle of this range. Only liquidity below, a little bit of demand, but yeah, trading wise not interesting to me until we at least reach extreme discount levels, which is at least here. Maybe from there it's worth watching it again, but for now it's just slowly bleeding down. And I have some other charts. I not really added, but sometimes to keep an eye on, because these have some momentum on their side. For example, this super clean range high, range low, and then this was actually a model 2 distribution I see right now. So we have tab 1, tab 2. This one took extreme liquidity right here. So that's tab 3. So a model 2 distribution flowing over into a 1, 2, 3 model 1 accumulation. And now at the range high. So technical target has been hit. This one also like super clean. Perfectly mitigated this demand just below the range low. Mitigate, break, move. And right now, if you look at the structure, what do we have? So we have 8-hour upward structure. High, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is a pretty important market structure low to keep an eye on. If that breaks back to bearish on an 8-hour close, then potentially can watch to play this the other side. But this is also just bullish into proven otherwise. So I would rather to look at the range and expect it to be a continuation into proven otherwise. So if we look at the volume profile as well, you can clearly see that this is your 8-hour market structure low and then value area high just below it. And then into proven otherwise, that can just be higher low, higher high. So I have an alert, and you know, guys, know that I don't like too many pairs, so I'm probably gonna miss the alerts. So keep me alert if something happens. But here we do have some confluence with the value area high, demand, and then the sweep of that market structure low. So let's say we swing fill that, don't close below it, then I'm potentially interested in continuation trades. Like 1, 2, 3. If we break down below value area high, then maybe looking for shorts. The others, not really interesting. BNB looked strong this morning, but is now breaking pretty aggressively back in the range, in which we can watch, was this manipulation right at the deviation threshold. So on the daily, you can see that price wicked the deviation threshold and is now pushing back aggressively, nearing the value area high. So this is pretty important level, what happens around here. But we have some clean demand here to potentially monitor. But we are also creating some supply in the process. Damn, that wick is crazy. Alert in that demand, and this candle is weird. Yeah, because of that wick, we don't have clean supply. This one was already mitigated right there. So I would say maybe we have a wick supply, so they can watch what is the reaction there. But overall, I'm more interested to see how do we react in this demand. But so far, it's a really strong move up and a strong move down. So let's see. And the others, yeah, potentially there is some hype around this thing with the founder Sam Altman from OpenAI, and the chart doesn't look too bad. It's an absolute shit project, but chart looks pretty good and there's some momentum behind it. So I'm just watching the range highs open. We have a bullish range and a super clean trend to watch. Basically higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, we have multiple demand zones right here, anchored VWAPs and fib levels. So if we come into here and then form like a local range and then get an internal break, then I'm interested to trade this to the range high. So alerts are set. Hopefully I get alerted, otherwise I will just monitor it. Beside that, looks like the market needs at least a few days. It's currently Monday, so often early in the week you get manipulation. Question now is, was this the manipulation, or are we now in the process of manipulating the lows? Also early in the month, so oftentimes they want to create some sort of wick. So let's see how we hold over the next few days, and then maybe we get something nice to work with. Looking at gold, because last week gold was super interesting. Let's get rid of that. We had that 4-hour super clean break, so technically you can start from here and then count your structure, which is technically lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, break. So according to that, we can watch 4-hour broke back to bullish. Can we catch the higher low for the higher high? That's a valid idea to look at. However, this also looks pretty nasty because we pushed up very aggressively, swept all these highs, so all this liquidity, and are now selling off strongly. So it can also just be a liquidity grab before lower. And the current move down is also pretty aggressive. So a few things I'm looking at is we have some demand zones here. Basically, this whole zone is range demand. But we have some refined demand levels right here with this 1-hour demand zone overlapping with the fib levels. And then that lower demand below it. But while doing that, we are also creating a supply in the process. So, and structure-wise, this is not really what I want to see to get into a long. For that, either we need to fill that, then come down, and then get something like this to work with for long. But so far, this is too aggressive up, and now too aggressive down. A bit of a BART, and often they can also just continue down. So I just have some alerts to see what happens, but also here I want to see price cool off a bit. So high, low, and then get a range, and then look if we can play that. For now, this is too aggressive for what I like to trade. So let's see what is the reaction at the supply or at the demand. And other than that, just a waiting game. And that's it, basically. Not really seeing anything beside that. Maybe not really interested to trade at low time frame. Hype. Okay, Hype just tapped into that start of the range demand. Filled this imbalance. So for this week, mainly looking at so far then just BTC, Hype, and gold, depending on how it develops. And we can have maybe a look like what are the week is very, very early, so doesn't make much sense to already look at it, but we can watch if there's something historical fractals. So now it matches weeks where we early in the week made the high and then directly started dropping, and it searched for similar cases. So this one is the most close fractal. That one showed this price action basically for the whole week. So further down, push up, higher low, and then close bearish. This one already further away from it, and then the other instances came down and then gave a reversal later. So either we form the low early in the week and then get a reversal, or it's just likely a slow bleed continue. So still very little data to work with, but we know that Monday and Tuesday are important reversal levels. But for now, it's clearly bearish. So let's see how the rest of the week progresses. And beside that, I don't have much more to say. Do you guys have any questions or want me to look at anything? I'm just waiting. In the meantime, building some stuff. The journal, for example, is almost ready. I added the ticker so that you can just fill in the ticker yourself. I'm also working on my site, which looks pretty clean to me. And some other things for when I'm gone on a vacation. Also recording the Wyckoff videos, so you guys can look at that when I'm gone. Let's see. Question from Daniel. What do you think about potential low time frame in six scalp? Currently for demand 3 taps in, could turn from model 1 into model 2. Yeah, I like model 1s in model 2s. Those are my favorites, so let's look. 4-hour demand. Oh yeah, I had, wait, I had it here. Took my attention because we swept, when was this? Saturday. Pretty deep sweep, taking some liquidity under the value area low, and then it broke the internal 4-hour back to bullish. Right here. So that was indeed interesting. And right now it is in 4-hour demand. Yeah, so 4-hour demand is a good POI. An ugly supply created as well, though, to keep an eye on. Mm, let's see, this demand already got mitigated or not? No, so there's a little demand below. This is now mitigated. Also that more refined is a little lower. This is clean supply to keep an eye on. Yeah, it's very, very local, but I don't see yeah, you have kind of the tree drive, but other than that, like I don't like these, like this can indeed be a sweep, sweep, but to me this looks more just like a slow bleed, just a continuation from this downtrend. And if you look here, for example, you can also see it like sweep, 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 sweep. But if you look at it from that perspective, then I don't really see it as the tree drive, how I like to trade it, but more like just a slow bleed down. Maybe lower time frame. Like low time frame, this looks better already. But I have to keep in mind that often low time frame can give you false perception. Bigger trend is more important. But we can watch, can it give confirmations for a trade? Like on the 1 minute, this looks pretty clean, not bad. Low, sweep, 3. You do not have structure beside this. So you have low, lower high, lower low. So then this is your breaker structure level. Horizontal. And then what is the volume profile? Yeah, you can also see if you pull your volume profile that this does not look like a good range. It's just too, like for a range you always want to have concentrated in the middle and then this form. Right now this doesn't have it. So then you can also wonder, is this a good range to play or is this just likely a local trend? And I think the second, if I look at the, but still, if you want to have the confirmation I should need is to have a clean bullish break. So that needs to be above here. If you break that to bullish, then maybe you can look back for a model 1 into a model 2. But other than that, I feel that this is a bit too much forcing a model in a local downtrend. But if you get a confirmation, backtest with the second confirmation, then definitely worth taking. However, I think it's a bit more likely that it just continues this downtrend. So that's it. Insight. Thanks. So yeah, beside that, I think we need some time for the market to develop. So far, straight move down on the weekly. How's the weekly looking? Yeah, like straight down since the weekly. So let's see if we get a wick to the downside and then maybe play it from there. But yeah, if you look at like this, with 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish weeks, 1 inside week and then bullish. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish weeks in a row. Not looking all too great overall. So if there are, see, cool, thanks for checking. Yeah, not the best one, just a thing. Yeah, indeed, for the low time frame, and they can always work, so keep an eye on it. But in my opinion, comparing it with the overall context, this slow bleed down, triggers need to be super clean. So I would only take it if you get that good break of structure, then get a good retrace and then take it. But then it's definitely yeah, just a model 1, which is a good one. Besides that, don't have much more to say, so I'm not gonna waste your time looking at it. So thanks everyone for tuning in. First day of the month, so usually that is also a day you should be more careful with trading. So I haven't traded, I'm not gonna take a trade today. I can already see it. But the rest of the week should be pretty promising. So let's see if we can start this week tomorrow with some nice trades, and then the rest of the week should give plenty of opportunities as always. So looking forward to it, and then I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I see you in the Discord.